It's Tuesday stitch time. Grab your hook and yarn. We're making something cozy, cute and warm. New stitch, new trick, let's learn today. Easy steps, I'll guide the way. Whether you're new or stitching pro, come along, let's hook and go.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Pseudo's Crochet and More. This is your host Crystal. I am behind the scenes today because it is Tuesday, which means it's stitch tutorial day. Today I'm doing the corner to corner stitch. I did work up a little swatch with the Premier Basic DK Multi. This is a new yarn by Premier. This is in the color Yuletide. There's the information. And this is the rest of the information. It is considered a light or number 3 weight yarn. It's 264 yards or 242 meters, 2.99 ounces or 85 grams, and it is 100% acrylic. I wanted to see how this would work up in the corner to corner. And then I decided, you know what? I'm just going to do that stitch tutorial today because I had a hard time understanding it. So I finally got to learn it. Now I have changed a little bit on how I do when I turn for the next row and all that. Now I did make this one. It is kind of crooked, but I think some of this yarn got a little thin in some places. I used a 4mm hook, and it is Susan Bates, so it's an inline. Now, for the tutorial, I'm going to be using Big Twist. I think this was Rave. Yeah, Rave in the color Cyan Crush, which to me, it reminds me more of cotton candy, and you'll see why when you see the yarn. But this is corner to corner. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 blocks this way, so it's 8 blocks this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So this, you can make tons of things with this stitch. You could make a shawl and not corner it off. You could make a scarf. I've made a scarf with it. You can make it so wide and then just keep going with the width that you have. You could make a blanket out of it. I've done that. I actually made my brother and his wife a red, white, and blue blanket, and this was a couple years ago that I did this. I've done it for other blankets as well. It's not a hard stitch. It's just understanding on how you start and how you end. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that other yarn here, the Rave. I am going to be using a 5mm hook. It does recommend a 4.5. I don't know why, because they consider this a 4-weight. And I don't know, maybe it's because it's a roving style yarn, and I just had the end here. Where the heck did that end go? I just pulled out, there we go. So this is the yarn that I'm using for the tutorial, Big Twist Rave. You can use whatever yarn you want to. This does have, I have not had a chance to use this, so I figured, well, you know what, let me see what it looks like in corner to corner. So, go ahead and get your hook, get your yarn. I'm going to go ahead and make a slip knot on my hook. So I do basically what I do for making magic rings. I put my tail underneath my working yarn. I make a hole, stick my hook through, and I pull that yarn, the working yarn through, and then I secure it to the hook. However you want to attach your yarn is fine. I'm going to turn on my extra light here. Hopefully it's not too much, and it's glaring too much. Once you have your hook, your yarn on your hook, chain up 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So you have 6 chains. we're going to skip the first three, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to double crochet into the fourth chain. So that's yarn over, insert your hook into the fourth chain, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You've just made your first double crochet. Going to yarn over, go into the next chain, to pull up a loop. Well, if it'll let me pull up a loop. Okay. Yarn over, go into the next chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Just made your second one. I'm going to probably have to turn this light either down or off. Let me see if it'll focus. Okay, you've got your chain 3 that you skipped, your first double crochet, your second double crochet. We're going to do 1 more double crochet into the last chain. And that is row 1. So you have your chain 3 space. Again, I'm sorry, this is going to be really wonky here. And I don't know why, because I have extra light to the side of me on, but some people say it's not bright enough, so I'm trying to get it brighter, but you know. Okay, now, instead of chaining here, we're going to turn our work, turn it, pull your working yarn behind your last stitch. I don't know if you saw me do that, so I'm going to do that again. Okay, so this is the last double crochet. Focus. And then I turn it. And then I chain 6 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to skip the first 3 again. 1, 2, and 3. Going to yarn over and go into that next chain, the 4th chain or the 3rd chain from the bottom. And we're going to do a double crochet. We're going to do another double crochet into the next chain. And 1 more double crochet into the next one. Now the next one might be a little bit hard to see because it's right above your last stitch or the first stitch for row 2. Just don't miss it. Okay, now you've made your first one for round 2. We're going to pull this one from row 1 up and into that chain 3 space. We're going to slip stitch. Insert your hook, pull up a loop. We're not going to yarn over. We're just going to pull through that loop to slip stitch. That secures it together with this first row. Then we're going to chain just 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to put 3 more double crochet into this chain 3 space. That's 1, 2, and 3. And you've just finished row 2. So your first row, you only have 1 cluster of 3 double crochets and a chain 3 space. Row 2, you will have 2 clusters of chain 3 spaces and 2 clusters of the 3 double crochet. Now, instead of chaining here, we're going to turn our work, turn your work, and then we're going to chain 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to skip the first 3 chains from the hook, 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th, double crochet, and then into each remaining chain. You should have 2 chains left. 2, and 3. Again, your last one is going to be right on top of your last stitch from row 2. Okay. And then now that's done, we're going to go over to the chain 3 space, insert the hook, and slip stitch to secure that to the row. Then chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do 3 more double crochets into that chain 3 space. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then we're going to jump over to the chain 3 that's on top of the previous 3 double crochet and slip stitch. So now you've secured that one. So we have 1, 2. We need to make 1 more here to make 3. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3 after your slip stitch, and then 3 double crochet into that same space to finish row 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then you've just completed row 3. So row 3, you'll have 3 little steps. You'll have this bottom one, that's 1. Next one up is 2, and then 3. And then to go on to row 4, turn your work. Do not chain anything, just turn your work. And then chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then again, skip the first 3 chains. 1, 2, 3, and into the 4th chain, double crochet. 1, and then into the each remaining 2 chains. 2, and 3. And then slip stitch into the chain 3 space on the top of the previous double crochet, the 3 double crochet. Slip stitch, and then chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do 3 double crochet into here. And you'll just keep repeating this pattern until you have however wide you want it. Now, I will show you how to close it off here. I'm going to do a couple more. I'm going to go 6, and then I'll show you how to meet it back up at the corner. So it's 3. So I have that one finished. Oh, I've been doing single crochets for a while now, so I do apologize for that. So 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over. 3 double crochet into that chain 3 space. Okay, and then just always check to make sure you haven't added an extra one or missed one, and then make sure you remember to slip stitch into the top of that previous one on this going down the side to get your last 2, 3, your last cluster of double crochets and chain 3. 2, and 3. Now, if you use too small or too big of a hook, if you use too big of a hook, you're going to see a lot of gaps in between the sideways So this is the up and down one. This is a sideways one. You will see a little bit of a gap. So you can downsize your hook if you need to. So that was row 4. I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Come on, focus. Focus, camera, focus. Focus. Of course it doesn't want to focus. There we go. And this is a lot brighter pink than what it's showing. It's picking up. I'm trying to get it to... Okay, hold on. That's the yellow light. Why isn't this thing just wanting to cooperate with me? No. Why do we want to cooperate? We don't want to cooperate. All right. Let me just do it that way. Let's see. See if you can see how pink this is. I think the light is actually washing this out, but this is a very bright pink yarn. All right, so we've got 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to turn my work again. Again, make sure that you're pulling your working yarn around your worked area, because if you don't, it's going to look a little weird. So we're going to chain 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Skip 3. Remember, don't count the one on your hook. 1, 2, 3, and then to the next one. Double crochet. And into the remaining 2 chains here. This is row 5 that we're working on. When you're done, make sure you slip stitch into that chain 3 space, then chain 3, and put 3 more double crochets. I hope you all had a safe 4th. It didn't get too crazy by where you're at. I don't know, a lot of places had to cancel the fireworks because of the heat being so bad. They didn't cancel them here. Wait, all of our neighbors were doing them. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3. My dog is still recovering from that. Not Bear. Bear, my little co-host, she's actually behind me. She was actually brave this year. When we lived in Virginia, she actually got underneath my bed because she was so scared of the fireworks. This year didn't bother her one bit. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get a close-up here so you guys can see that I'm actually with the slip stitch and all that. 2 and 3. I actually fell in love with this stitch because it's very easy. It's hard to forget. But I was very confused when I first heard about corner-to-corner crochet, or C2C, or that's got, you know, Grafgan. This is a lot of people use this stitch for making the Grafgans too. All right, so we have one more since we're on row 5 to do. That's 2 and 3. And 3. One more here. All right, so there's the last one for row 5. So as you get, if you forget what row you're on, you can either count this direction or going up this way or this way. They all should have the same amount of 3 double crochet blocks with the chain 3 in there too. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to do one more row, and then I will show you how to close up the pattern. Now, if you want to do it where you're making something to wrap around you, you will not do that. You'll just leave this kind of edge on there. You could fill that in a little bit to kind of even it out, but you don't have to make any more rows if you don't want to. So we're going to chain 6 one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to yarn over and go skip 1, 2, 3 and go into the 4th chain from the hook. And put 1 double crochet and then 1 into the each remaining 2 chains. 2 and 3. And then we're going to slip stitch into the next chain 3 space. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to put 3 double crochet here. 1, 2, and 3. And if you need to, you can pull them a little bit to kind of fill up that spot. Keep going till you get to the top of this one up here, and I'll meet you there. Or wherever you're stopping at, you can come back and watch how to close up finish off the rest of the other half of the corner. To the corner, I should say. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And I almost did that again. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of single crochets. When I'm stuck on one specific stitch, I tend to accidentally use it on another pattern that does not require that stitch. And nobody's perfect, so... One more double crochet here. Okay, got 2 more to do. Two, 3. If you ever watch one of my tutorials and I'm going too fast, please let me know so I can slow down a little bit. Okay, so I'm at the last one here on this side. I have 1 more to do because we're on row 6. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 1 more up here to this one. So we're going to add 1 more chain, slip stitch, chain 3, 3 double crochet, all into this same spot here. 2, 3. Okay, so now we just finished row 6. And again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, I'm not going to go any wider or higher with this. Now, if you were okay with this width, but you didn't want to go and you wanted to just go higher, you'll do, I'm going to show you different ways that you would continue on going. So once you have the width that you want, so say you wanted to add a couple more, you would continue adding a couple more, going this way, because this one here is your first block. It's your first 3 double crochet block. And you know that because your tail is over on this side. Now you could use it the other way too. It looks the same on both sides, in my opinion. So, but I'm going to say if you want to make it another 2 extra blocks, that's fine. When I'm going through this, I will tell you what you should do if you want to keep going with the height. So if you want to make a scarf with it, you can add a couple extra. If you think this is wherever you think is wide enough, you won't add any more blocks going this way. You'll keep stacking them this way, but this side you will still add going this way. I know it sounds confusing. I might see if I can do a tutorial with you on making a scarf with the corner to corner so you understand what I'm talking about a little bit better. But I will try my best to show you here on how to do that. So if you wanted to make this longer and the height, this width was fine with you, you would actually turn your work and chain 6 and keep going with that pattern. But if you're happy with the height and the size that you're getting, we're going to actually not turn our work just yet. We're going to chain 1, then turn our work and slip stitch. We're going to skip this first stitch, this spot right here. We're going to go into the next one and slip stitch. And slip stitch into the next one. And then slip stitch into the chain 3 space. And then chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to put 3 double crochet into that chain 3 space we just slip stitched into. That's 1, 2, and 3. And then the same pattern as if we were doing another row of increases. We're going to just slip stitch into the next chain 3 space, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then 3 double crochet into that chain and into that same spot. Don't get caught here. There we go. 1, 2, and 1 more to make 3. 3. And then slip stitch into the next chain 3 space, chain 3, and 3 double crochet. Okay, well, that wasn't working for me. It's split. There we go. That's 2. 1 more. 3. And then slip stitch and chain 3. Two, 3. Okay. And sometimes I will tug on the stitches a little bit to make sure that they're not too squished. 1, 2, and 3. 2, and 3. Okay, now we are going to slip stitch into this, but we're not going to add anything extra. We're going to be decreasing it by 1 stitch every time we go to the next row. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all we need to do is slip stitch into this top of this one. Now, if you were actually making this taller, then you would slip stitch and make another slip stitch chain 3, and then put 3 more double crochets into this, then turn and then do your chain 6, so you keep adding to the height. Actually, this is the right side of it. It doesn't matter, but this one you can see that the you can see the 3 double crochet down here. But we're not going to continue on. So I'm going to just slip stitch into the top of this one, chain 1, and turn my work. I'm going to skip that first double crochet. Actually, yeah, I'm going to skip that first double crochet. You can go into that, but I skip it. Sometimes it's too much because of the chain 1. But I'm going to go into the next stitch to slip stitch. And then I'm going to go into the next one. Well, if it lets me, I'm going to go into the next one. Come on. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the chain 3 space. Again, you can go into that first stitch if you want to. You do not have to. 2 and 3. It kind of, actually, you know what? That's fine. That's perfectly fine. If you don't like how it looks, you can, like I said, you can always go into that very first stitch. You don't have to skip it. And then we're going to put 3 double crochets into this one. I just did the chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to straighten them out because I'm kind of going sideways with that, but that's okay. All right, and then we're going to do, just like before, slip stitch into the next chain 3 space. 1, 2, chain 3, and 3 double crochet. And 3. So there's that one. Again, we're reducing how many blocks we're doing per row because we want to get it to the other corner up here. Chain 3, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. And again, I kind of straighten it out a little bit, make it look a little fuller. All right. This is our last one that we're doing for this row because we are decreasing on both sides. Again, if you added more to this side, then you would go into, that top of that one and all that stuff. So, all right. 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to slip stitch into that chain 3 space. And then you should have 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then we're going to chain 1. I'm going to turn my work. Now, for this side, I'm going to go ahead and go into that first stitch on this side. Again, you don't have to. Slip stitch across. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to slip stitch into the chain 3 space. Chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then 3 double crochets. And if you heard that noise, that's just my work stuff. I don't know why. It's alerting me. I'm not on shift. Go away. 2. It shouldn't record it, but I don't know if it will or not. 3. All right. Now we're going to follow the same pattern as we were before. Slip stitch into the chain 3, 3 double crochet. Slip stitch chain 3, then 3 double crochet. My brain's getting ahead of where we are here. So 1, 2, and 3. Slip stitch into this one. 2 and 3. 3 double. I was going to say, this is going to change right at the end here. That would not be cool. Because it goes from the pink to a mottled pink with blue, and then it changes to blue. And to me, it reminds me of cotton candy, but, you know. All right, that was the last one because we're at the edge. But again, if you're still adding height to it, make sure you keep adding your height until you're ready to decrease. And you would decrease the same way as we're doing right now with not adding more to one side or the other. All right, I just did that one. So now we have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to go into that first stitch and slip stitch across. 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to do just like it's done before, when slip stitch into the chain 3 space, then chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3. Well, that was good. Just lose it all off the hook. Okay, straighten that out. Now this is going to look a little wonky because it is a roving style yarn, but your edges should be pretty straight. You can add a border to it to straighten it out a little bit more if you need to. All right, now we're on our last block for this row. 1, 2, and 3. 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so that ends this row, and we will have 2 blocks that we just did. And then we just have this last piece, this one piece of block here, and this will be finished. Now, I have, like I said, I've made several blankets, a few scarves, I made a hat, but it didn't really come out very well. I tried to follow Bagoday's pattern for the hat, and it just, no. So, I mean, I have it still. I gave my mother-in-law the scarf because she, something happened with her first scarf that I made her, but I gave her that one. All right, so I just slip stitched along the edge here of the 3 double crochets. I'm going to go ahead and insert to finish this off. Slip stitch, chain 3, 1, 2, 2, and 3. 3 double crochet, 1, 2, and 3. And then slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 space. And it's complete. Now, I'm not going to tie this off. You can tie it off if you're done. But if you're using this is how I do it, but everybody's different. But when I use a self-striping yarn like this, I use up the color, the first color, to determine how wide I'm going to make the project. And then I start, decreasing, but I keep making the rest of it taller, especially for blankets. Like I said, I made my brother and his wife one. I made a baby blanket with a Premier yarn with it. I made a chenille, not chenille, blanket yarn. I used blanket yarn, that Ogo blanket yarn stuff that they came out with. I used that for a blanket. I'm trying to make it look like it was the sea because I used certain colors in a certain way. So if you want to make it where it's striped more instead of solid colors, which I think is much better with this pattern, is to make it either striped in colors or using a graph GAN to add a picture to it. But you can still use it for a lot of things. Like I said, wraps, hats, scarves, blankets. You could even use it if you wanted to for a dishcloth. So there are endless possibilities with this stitch. That's what I'm going to say. All right, now, again, if I went too fast with this today, please let me know. Or if you were having trouble seeing it, I tried my best with being able to have enough lighting on here. I have my side light by my husband's computer stuff. I have my ceiling light on. I have the light with my camera on. I hope it does not come out too dark. Because I've got all the lighting on that I can actually do right now. It's like, But, yeah. So, if you've ever used this stitch, let me know in the comment section. Was it better information about how to turn, how to flip your project? Because when I've watched Bag O' Day, I watched Jade Unstitches, and I think there was one other person I watched with a corner-to-corner pattern. And I found it too confusing to leave it one direction and then flip it. So that's why I came up with the way that I do it. I wanted to share that with others. So, again, yeah. I don't know why I say again, but if you liked today's video, and I'm so sorry that it's late, but I did not have a chance to get it done yesterday because my husband came home from work. Well, he went out to work, but where he works and what he does, he couldn't do anything because the ground was way too soft. So he basically went out there, turned around, came back home. And he needed to get work stuff done. So I'm like, I'll get up tomorrow morning before work and get this done. So that way after work, I just have to do the Premier sale yarn. sale for the big summer sale. So that video was out before this one, but if you didn't see it, go back and check for it. A lot of good ones that are on sale. Some of them I'm probably going to kick myself because I'll probably miss being able to get it, but you know, it is what it is. So, yeah. All right. Well, if you enjoyed today's video, please give me a thumbs up. If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed already, please go ahead and hit that subscribe and then the notification bell so you're always aware of when I put out new content. Until next time, I hope you all stay safe, stay warm or cool, and happy crocheting. Bye-bye.